Are you looking for a wired smart video doorbell? Or perhaps you're looking to upgrade from the Wyze original video doorbell? This is the Wyze Video Doorbell V2. Is it worth the upgrade or your time? I'm Wanderer001. Let's find out. For me, one of the prime reasons that I went with the original Wyze Video Doorbell was the size. I have a very slim piece of trim that I can work with, so a small video doorbell works best for me. In the case of the Video Doorbell V2, you're looking at 4.3 inches by 1.7 with a depth of 0.9. It is slightly larger than the original video doorbell, but still small in comparison to other options out there on the market. When we come and look at the front of the video doorbell, you have 6 940 nanometer IR lights, and these IR lights are barely visible in the dark, which is a great stealthy feature if you're looking for that. The camera lens in the middle here, you have a 2K resolution camera that films at 2048 by 1536 with a field of view of 135 horizontal, 103 vertical, and 166 diagonal. This is a substantially larger field of view than you had with the original doorbell from Wyze. Video that you get from this will also be 20 frames per second in the daytime and 15 frames at night. That is a standard that you're going to see with a lot of Wyze products, whether it's their wired cameras or their battery powered. Coming down the front here, we have our large blue LED status light. As you can see, it's been blinking as I've been doing this. That's because it is motion detecting me and recording. So that is a nice indicator. In the middle here, you have a nice large button for pressing. There is a little confusion with this model versus the original model where I had people pushing the lens instead of the button. This, you can see, even if this isn't blinking, this is the button that you should be pushing. The doorbell itself operates on the 2.4 gigahertz spectrum, so this isn't a 5 gigahertz device. Even with that 2K quality, you don't have to worry. 2.4 gigahertz is more than enough, especially with the feature that Wyze introduced with the Video Doorbell 2 here that a lot of other video doorbells, even wired ones, don't have, and that is local storage. The Video Doorbell 2 can have up to a 256 gigabyte SD card. That means you can get 24/7 recording, not clips, 24/7 recording with this video doorbell. The only downfall is the placement of the SD card. It is located on the side, easily accessible depending on how you have it mounted. However, for me, the beauty of the way I have this mounted, I'm using the wedge mount. It is very difficult to access the SD card from here. You'd have to really fiddle with it and pry at it to get it out of there. But if you have this flat against the surface, that might be a problem. Realistically, they should have had it on the back of the doorbell. As long as you have Wyze Cam Plus subscription, you don't have to worry about if your SD card gets removed, because anything that the doorbell records will be sent to the cloud regardless of if that SD card is there or not. Operating temperature of the camera is 4 degrees Fahrenheit all the way up to 122 degrees Fahrenheit. Currently, I have had it in weather as low as 20 degrees and as high as 80. Crazy swings there, but such is the weather in my region this time of year apparently. I am hoping that because it's a larger body and has more room for the hardware than the version 1 had, it can avoid one of the biggest issues that I had with the version 1, and that was the device in the middle of the day at high peak sun would overheat and just wouldn't operate. I had to wait until later in the evening and then it would turn on. Hopefully this, because it's larger, will not have that issue. If you play in the voice assistant world, Video Doorbell 2 is compatible with both Google Home and Alexa devices. So if you don't have a interior chime box, you could use an Alexa device, set up a routine, and when this button is pushed, you'll hear that you have somebody at your door. Besides the video doorbell itself, there are a lot of other things that we get in the box with this, especially things that we need for installation of this video doorbell if this is your first smart doorbell. So let's take a look at what we get in the box with the Wyze Video Doorbell 2. Coming to the top, we'll start right to left. Over here, we have a chime box extension wire or compatibility box. I remember seeing this, so you'll actually be able to use your chime box. That's all that's on that side. Right in the middle, this is our new Wyze V2. We'll take that out, take a look around. Big setup button at the top. Connectors, flip it around. There's our access for our micro SD card. Here is the front face of that. Shiny fingerprint magnet front. Coming over to this side here. This is going to be for our mounting. We've got our one flat plate, very thin, very flexible. And then here, this little side plate to let you kind of have it off on an angle. Plus it helps me stash the cables. Last but not least, we have our mounting hardware as well as our extender so that we can use this a little easier. Now that we've gotten out of the box, no pun intended, all the extra hardware and things that we are going to need to install this, let's use that as a segue to go into the installation and setup of the Wyze Video Doorbell 2. This will be setup of the Wyze Doorbell version 2. Once you're ready, open up the Wyze application, come over to the upper left-hand corner, select the plus sign, add a device. From here, you're going to select camera and scroll down. Doorbell version 2 counts as a camera, so we're gonna select that. Here, we're gonna walk through the setup process. We're gonna select next, letting us know the tools. We need a Phillips head screwdriver and then diagram of our chime box. I'm gonna select next, prepare for the installation. All of this is located right here. We're gonna hit next. Required items, Wyze doorbell chime controller, Phillips and caps. We're gonna select next. We're gonna turn off the power, always a good idea. So let's cut to that now. After our power is cut, we come back, we select next. And it's walking us through the turning off our power box. Next, it says locate your chime box. And I am already familiar with this. I have a 2-wire setup. Going to select next. Here it walks us through. We are going to disconnect the front wire. So wire and transmitter. And then we are going to take our front and connect it to, right here, might be a little tricky to see, our black cable right there using one of our wire caps. We're gonna go do that now.
This is my chime box. I actually reinstalled everything because I had the chime bypass for the original. But here we can see if we zoom in, there's front, there's transmitter. And now we're gonna follow that layout with this, although it doesn't really look like there's a lot of room for this, which is probably why it has the sticky tape. Find a place to mount that to. But we're gonna come back after we follow the directions.
Now that we have the chime controller situated, we're ready to go outside. It's letting us know what we need to prepare. Selecting next. You're gonna disconnect to your front doorbell. In my case, it's the previous Wyze version. And then here it's gonna walk us through how is this situated. In my case, I'm gonna say it's parallel, and I will be using the wedge. Next. So now it says I'm going to take the wedge plate, screw this in outside, feed my cables through, connect them to the back of the doorbell, use the wire taps and extenders right there, and then turn power back on. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go outside and see if we can get this situated. So right here, I have removed the previous doorbell right there. So I'll actually give you a nice size comparison of the version 2 to the version 3. So it is going to take up a little more space there, but I'm also going to use some of the wiring from the version 1 for the version 2. They are rated for the same level of electrical current, so I'm just going to take off the plate here and the wedge plate and replace it with the new wedge plate. All right, so far I have the wedge plate in place. These are the wire caps from last time, so we'll move on to the next step. And by next step, I mean using the short screws to use this plate. Again, notifies you which way is up, but you need this plate and the wedge plate if you're going to use the wedge, so you can't just use one or the other. Got to put that in next. And if all goes according to plan and you are transitioning from the version 1 of the doorbell and you had all this stuff set up, including the screws, you can actually save all the hardware that came with the version 2 as a spare, because all the version 1 stuff works with the version 2. So now we'll just hook up the camera to our connectors there and we'll be good to go. After you connect everything, you're gonna go back and turn your power on, as it says right here. We're gonna hit next, and then we're gonna bring our camera into focus here, and it should be flashing orange, which it is. We're gonna select next, and then on the back of it at the top, there is a setup button. So we're gonna select setup. And it says ready to connect. I heard that, so I'm gonna select next. And then it's gonna want us to put in our Wi-Fi credentials. So we're gonna do that quickly. And after that, it registers a QR code for us to scan. So I'm gonna put this here and have the QR code. And then it says QR code scan, please wait. And we indicate that on the app. And now it says working on connecting it. So this could take a couple of minutes. All right, so I just heard something say setup completed, and now it wants us to give it a name. It has suggestions, front door or back door. We're gonna say version 2. Now it is prompting us for their Cam Plus subscription. I'm going to select basic, and then continue. And it says you are confirming that you are not going to use this. And then here we can create, edit group devices or share with friends. We're going to skip this for now. Well, we're going to hit cancel. So it wants us to go to the group. No, we don't want to do a group. Skip. Trying to make you do stuff, and I don't like that, but we're going to hit finish. And then check the status. It should be blue. It is blue. Going to hit next. Now we can attach it to the wall. So we're going to hit next. And then voila, finish. Doorbell is good to go. And there is a firmware update, so we're going to do that. We're going to update the firmware before we put it back on the placement there. And we'll get back to you after that's done. Once you get a notification that your firmware is done, simply select done. I got a sticker for backing. And there you can actually see the live feed as it points down. So we are now able to put this into place, which we do simply by following these little indentations right there. They line up right over here. And in my case, I've just got to do a little tucking of the wire before we can do that, and then line them up. May have to fiddle with your wiring a little bit to get that in there. But once you do, you can see blue, flashing blue, rings just fine. There you saw setup, installation, not terrible at all, especially if you've changed a doorbell before. I was able to use a lot of the hardware that was already in place for my Wyze Video Doorbell original with the Wyze Video Doorbell 2. If you're upgrading from the OG, this is going to be a much simpler setup for you. Now that we've gotten our hardware out of the way, what's next? Well, that would be how we interface with the doorbell. And that's going to be our application. And depending on how easy it is to use an app, that's going to make or break the hardware. So let me show you what the Wyze app looks like for the Wyze Video Doorbell 2. This is the Wyze application for the Wyze Video Doorbell 2. As you can see, all of your Wyze devices will be listed on a single page. We'll talk about some of these extra options down here a little later. But coming up to the top, if we select the Wyze Video Doorbell 2, we are brought directly into the camera's live feed. There you saw, loaded up. Here we can see this is the active feed from my camera as of right now. If I double tap, I can zoom in. So you see digitally, it has zoomed in, and I can scroll around. We can see what's going on. And if I double tap, that will back it out. At the top of the screen right here, we can see the name of my device as well as the little plus sign. That plus sign means that I have the Cam Plus subscription service on this particular camera. Now, I will say that there are a lot of features that are locked behind the Cam Plus subscription. And when I come to them, I will point them out to you so that you know what you can do for free as well as what you have to pay for. If I tap on my image one more time, in the upper left-hand corner here, you can see that it is stating that there is 2K resolution. If I tap on that, I can change it to SD or 360. So if you need to lower it because of connection issues or bitrate problems. Tapping one more time in the upper right-hand corner, full screen mode, as you can see, it just changes the orientation of the camera. Down in the lower left, we have night vision mode. So right now it's on auto. If I select that, now it's on. You can see it changed it to black and white. Tapping one more time turns it off completely. You'll use this if you're using the starlight sensor. And I'm going to go back to auto, so it will use the ambient light to figure out, does it need to turn those IR lights on or off? We have our toggles for audio coming from the camera, or if I want to talk through the camera. Tapping either will turn everything off. If you happen to have both of them off and you tap the microphone, by default, it will turn the audio from the doorbell on for you. Coming down, we have our SD card. If I select this, this is going to bring me into a timeline of the SD card. Here you could see everything that's going on right here. And if we scroll, actually that's going into the early parts of today. So maybe I will load up yesterday and we'll come down here. So right there, you could see there is a timeline event that is a person was detected. Tap on there, it will bring me to that event. And there you can see me walking up. Now, these types of events, you will need Cam Plus for. Pretty much anything that has this purple icon, you need to have a Cam Plus subscription in order for it to work. If I didn't, this would just show as a motion trigger event and you would have to scrub through this timeline to look and see what that event was. From my SD card, I can take a photo. So that's taking a photo of what it's seeing right now. I can record video. So as I'm playing this event, I can record it and save a copy. And then over here, this is my album. This is going to show me all of my saved videos. And from here, I can select rewatch it, I can play it with sound, I can share it, I can delete it, or if I select edit, I can select multiple ones and delete or share. This does work the same for photos, so if you happen to take any photos, that's where they'll end up. And from our SD card, we can select go back to live. So now we're looking at the live feed of the camera. Just like we had with our SD card, we have the option to take a photo. So took a photo of my live feed. I can record the live feed to save to that album's location. Then moving over, I have responses. Several quick responses that you can tap to have the doorbell speak to a person on the other end. And they sound like this.
Can I help you with something? Hey, I'll be at the door shortly. Hello, please leave the package by the door.
I like the fact that they've moved where this was compared to the version 1. The version 1, you had to dig to find that, and it didn't really feel like a quick response to me. To the right of that, we have our albums, just like with the SD card. Here's where everything we recorded or took photos of will live. So there's 2 places that you can access that. Coming down, we have our events timeline. Now, again, as I stated, notice these purple icons. Those are smart triggers. You're going to need Cam Plus for that. However, this wave icon indicates that that's just a motion event. And if I select this, there is my motion event. That is my male person who is coming up to the house. I would not have known that that was a human event if I didn't have Cam Plus. Also, with Cam Plus, you have the ability to, over here in the corner, change the speed at which this will play. So you can go up to 4 times fast. So if I do that and then let this play out, they walk up very quickly to the door. And from here, I can download, share, delete, jump to the SD card, which will bring me to the recording on my SD card because I have it recording 24/7. And then you can give feedback if this was an incorrect event. You also have the ability from the timeline to filter. So from here, you can filter. Again, notice person, pet, package, vehicle. These are subscription. Ring, sound, or motion you can have for free. So if I want to, in my case, I want to just see people. I hit that. And now it's only going to show me the triggers that had a person in it. So that is a very helpful feature. And again, one of the reasons why you really need a Cam Plus subscription with the doorbell. I don't fault them for that, but just know ahead of time. That was everything for the doorbell controls that we can do. Coming up to the upper right-hand corner here, we have our settings sprocket. If I select this, now we get to change settings for our Wyze camera. Starting at the top, we have the name. I can alter the name simply by selecting that. We have detection settings. If I select this, this will allow me to adjust my motion sensitivity, my detection zone. If I toggle this, it's a grid view and you can select where you want. So these filled in areas are where my camera is actually detecting and then areas where it's not. So I generally have some plant movement right there, so I don't have that. And then the sky, I don't want to be notified, so I don't have that on. I have motion tagging, which is the green box that you saw around people and moving objects. You also have motion warning. Right now I have that set to none because my neighbors get enough of that from the smart drop box that I have as well. But if you select one of these, when the camera detects motion, it will either do the Wyze tone or the you're being recorded.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
If you select either of these, you actually hear it on the phone, which I appreciate, but you also have the ability to change it from every 10 seconds or once per event or every 60 seconds. So you have some options to encourage somebody to not linger by your doorbell or let them know that they are actively being recorded. Here we have our sound sensitivity. If you're using this to trigger based on a sound event, you want to dial that in. I don't really use it, so I have it on a lower setting. Next, we have event recordings. Coming in, I have record for motion, don't really care about sound. And then here you can either do all events, which is recommended if you don't have Cam Plus, or smart detection. Smart detection is going to be person, pet, package. Need a subscription for that. Custom recordings, here I can say, okay, if you detect a person, record and notify. Friendly faces, that's a higher level of Cam Plus, which I don't have. Pet, record, notify. Vehicle, I get a lot, even with the grid setup as it is, so I turn that off completely. Package, on. And then you have interesting ones, which I know are part of Cam Plus and every Wyze camera, but you have baby crying, barking, meowing, and talking. And you can choose, do I want to be notified, or do I want recording, or do I want recording and not to be notified? So I like the customization there. Next, we have notification. Notice it had the big plus sign next to it, that's because of the subscription. I have notifications on, and I can select manage, and that's going to bring us back to this page that we looked at before. Coming down, we have advanced settings. Looking at my advanced settings, I have my micro SD card. It is turned on, and it is set for continuous recording. Events only will just give you those snapshot of events that happen, and realistically, if you are getting this doorbell, you're getting it because it has an SD card. Do utilize the continuous recording. Manage the SD card. If I select this, it will let me know, hey, this is how much is being used. I don't have the maximum card size in here. So what it's saying is, hey, when you reach your storage limit, we're going to go back and we're going to overwrite old footage, which I'm fine with. If you select format, that will format the card, erase everything on it. You can properly eject your micro SD card using that option. Here is another area where I can adjust night vision mode. So I have auto, on or off, just like we had that little icon on the front page there. We have camera status light. This status light is the blue LED ring that's around the doorbell button. I keep that off only because I got enough lights on the front of my house. Kind of looks like a landing strip, letting people know, hey, something's going on over here. But I do recommend leaving it on only because it helps people know where to push the doorbell. Show timestamp, date and timestamp on all of your videos. That's helpful. Show Wyze logo. You could turn this on or off if you want the Wyze logo embedded in your video. And then record sound. If you live in an area where you are legally not able to record sound, that is how you would toggle that off. And then sync time is simply that. Sync the doorbell's time to your smartphone to have more accurate time. Coming down, we have chime. This will let us pick the type of chime we have. So in my case, I have a mechanical. You can have digital or none, but realistically, if you choose none, you're kind of using other devices to act as your chime. And then this I always appreciate, the do not disturb mode. So for whatever reason, if your significant other or somebody in the house is doing something and you don't want the doorbell to ring, this is a great option. You toggle that on, and even if somebody pushes the doorbell, no sound will emit in the house, even if you have a mechanical chime box like I do. Accessories, if you had any accessories to pair with the doorbell, simply come up here, press the plus sign, and then you can add a Wyze lock to pair with your doorbell, which is great. Rules will allow you to set up specific actions to happen if the doorbell is pressed, turn on a light, or send out a notification. Sharing, if I select this, I can share this device with somebody else. They will need their own Wyze account to do that. Device information, lots of sensitive information in there, but that's where you can check your firmware for your doorbell. And then Wyze support, if you ever have a problem and need to reach out to Wyze, this is where you go to start the help process. And then if you ever need to, you can restart the camera right from here. I have had to do this once, and once I restarted it, everything worked perfectly fine. And then our delete device, if we need to delete the doorbell from our overall Wyze ecosystem. Coming back to our front page very quickly, only to talk briefly about these options at the bottom. Home lists out everything that you have. Events, this is going to be an aggregate of all of your triggered events in one location if you have multiple Wyze devices. Monitoring, if you pay for a Wyze subscription that has monitoring, this is where you can come and manage all of that. Shopping, well, when I'm filming this just after Black Friday, there's a lot of deals that come up here. You can come in here, see what's going on. Your account will show you all of your subscriptions, account information, your home, services, friendly faces if you pay for that, sharing, notifications, firmware updates, smart integration, rules, Wyze community, Wyze support, app settings, and about. The account page here, just think of it as if you have multiple Wyze devices, this will help you aggregate all of that data and information in a single location. And that has been everything that you can do for the Wyze Video Doorbell 2 utilizing the Wyze application. As you saw, if you're familiar with the Wyze app itself, it doesn't really stray from what made Wyze user-friendly and simple to start. There have been some improvements in some areas and places where I wish they would improve, but that could change in the future with firmware. What is next on the agenda? Well, that would be testing. There are things that a video doorbell is supposed to do, and if it doesn't do it, what is the purpose of having something like this then? Starting off, we're going to talk about audio. The audio for this is pretty good from the camera itself, as well as from the application. As you can hear,
Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test.
Audio test from Wyze Video Doorbell 2, from doorbell to application. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Test 1, test 2, test 3, and test. The one word of caution I will say with the audio is there is a little bit of a delay when talking from the camera
to the application, but that's normal even for a wired device. Next, detection speed. How quickly do you get notified when somebody presses the button or approaches the camera? Let's take a look. Doorbell test speed notification. All right, here. Just like that. Somebody's at the door. Very quick. Okay, this will be attempt number 2. Now that my wife has not turned off the notifications on the app. When I get to about the corner there, it should notify me, but this is Wyze Video Doorbell version 2 on 5G. So here we go. I'm going to start walking up now. So about here, I should be within its detection zone. Hasn't popped up yet. Going a little closer. Coming up. There we go. All right, so right when I said there you go, that was the notification. So I did have to get a little closer before it sent it, but there you can see, if I bring that a little closer, but it did pick me up right where I thought it would. It just didn't send me the notification until I was just about at the door. So there is a little delay, but at least you'll get that recording from back there. Notification speed test, Wyze Video Doorbell 2, low light. So right about here, it should pick me up as a human, but just like last time, I am sure it's gonna, oh, actually did it slightly faster this time. The speed at which you get notified of a button press especially is almost instantaneous. But I want to point out one of the benefits of a pixel-based wired motion detection opposed to a heat-based motion detection. With the heat-based, you need the signature to pass high enough by your camera in order to set off both a motion and a heat signature. With a pixel-based motion detector like this, all you need is a pixel change and it will start detecting. Now, in my case, I didn't realize that I had cats that had started patrolling in front of my house with my other video doorbell. The newer, wider field of view with the version 2 Wyze doorbell here let me see these cats walking in front of my house at 4 in the morning. So, food for thought. Last, it is a video doorbell. What about the video? Well, I will have those broken out into a separate video over there in the corner because this is a 1080 video, this records 2K video, and I want to preserve the 2K quality so you can judge for yourself. However, what I can say is this is a great step up, especially if you came from the Wyze Video Doorbell 1, in that it is better pixel, sharper color, and for me, at night, minimal ghosting. You do get a little ghosting, especially if you're using the starlight sensor as opposed to the black and white with the IR, but it is not terrible and still gives you a clear enough picture that you'll be able to see somebody approaching your home. But remember, go check out that video in the corner for the non-downscaled video footage. I know I've been talking a lot about the benefits and the good things that this video doorbell does. That does not mean that there are not some cons of this video doorbell. First being, for whatever reason, the doorbell stopped sending me notifications that people were walking by the doorbell. And with that, I got concerned. But I was able to reboot the device and it started working again. But I feel that it shouldn't have done that, especially as early on in my testing as it did. So, data point for you to consider. Next, location of that SD card. Every other reviewer has said the same thing. Having the SD card, which would be on this side, hidden by my trim here, but having the SD card on the side of your camera makes absolutely no sense. It is a good feature to have, but the implementation was not thought out very well. The chime controller that came with this, many other reviewers as well, said they installed it and it would not work. I was in the same boat. I installed the chime controller, didn't work, took it out, all of a sudden it worked. I wish they had better documentation as to what chime controller was for, because right now it seems most people, as long as you had hardwiring already, you don't need it. Vertical field of view, while enhanced from the original Wyze Video Doorbell, is still not large enough to see packages that are like right underneath it. And I really wish that they would have a larger field of view for that. Granted, yes, you could see somebody coming up and taking your package and get it all recorded, but if I just want to be notified, hey, is that box still there that the mailman left, or did my wife pick it up, or did my neighbor grab it? I can't tell with this camera. There are other cameras out there, review in the corner, that have downward facing cameras that allow you to see packages that are right up front close to your door. The fact that you need to have a Cam Plus subscription with this, especially if you want to avoid the 5-minute cooldown for notification triggers, not a deal breaker because Wyze is one of the cheaper subscription services out there, but if you're buying something and then having to pay a monthly subscription, it is a harder pill to swallow for some people. Last is the fact that the doorbell itself is not actually locked into place in any way, shape, or form. The Wyze Video Doorbell Pro, over there in the corner, which I have, has a screw that locks it into place right here. Other doorbells that I've had have a pressure pin at the top where you have to push with a ejector tool to loosen the camera. This, you can do a series of movements and the doorbell will come off of the plate in the back. I'm not saying it's a design flaw because the Video Doorbell 1 had the same thing, but I wish it was included. Overall, it is a good step up, especially if you have the original Video Doorbell. The fact that it does 24/7 recording is great. There needs to be more video doorbells that have an integrated SD card. The fact that you need a subscription from Wyze to get a lot of the functional features of it may give people pause, but Wyze's subscription services are the cheapest that you're going to find on the market currently. Because of that, if you're looking for a wired 2K video doorbell that has 24/7 recording because of SD storage, I can strongly recommend the Wyze Video Doorbell. If you're looking to pick one up for yourself, I will have links down in the description area below. As well as if you're looking for a good SD card, I'll put my recommended SD card in the description area below as well. If you appreciate the time and effort that goes into making a video like this, make sure to hit that like button to help other people find the video as well. And when I say effort, I mean effort. Then the version 1 had that it will be able... Are you kidding me? I was dealing with that all day, trying to film in between those. If you like what I'm doing here and want to be notified of my next review, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Still not sure this is the right video doorbell for you? On screen now, you'll see 2 other video doorbell options to help you make a more informed decision for yourself.